Hello YouTube. I wanted to make this video based on bullying, as you can see with the title of it. I actually was home watching many different YouTube videos and I stumbled upon one about this girl who committed suicide because she was severely bullied in school. She was a very beautiful teen girl, and I guess other teen girls were jealous of her or hated her or whatever and just pushed her to the point where she killed herself. And then I stumbled upon other videos of the same context where people sharing their pain of losing a family member or a loved one or what they've gone through with bullying. And I can relate. I know exactly what these people feel like because I went through the same thing when I was in elementary school and to some degree in high school. Back when I was in school, nowadays, being a nerdy and geek is all in and in vogue and comic books are cool and everything geeky is cool. But back when I was in high school, it was not cool. So, if you didn't fit in with everyone else, you were ridiculed, put down. So I was a very tall, skinny, lanky teen and young man who was always into comic books and Star Trek and all that. I didn't act like the thug. I didn't, fall between pre-described lines of what it means to be a black male and all that kind of stupid nonsense. And, wasn't the ladies' man. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. And so I just did not fit in. I was very unique, very weird, and, I was criticized for that and put down. And fortunately, there's no real simple conclusion to bullying. That you could either go to the teacher and, voice a complaint, you could call a kid's help phone, you could talk to your parents, but there's always benefits and repercussions to everything. I wish everything was clear cut and put into a nice package, and if you do this, it ends. If you do this, everything will get better. But it just never works that way. I remember, and I'm just going to give you my experience from when I was in elementary school, because there was this kid, Marcelo or something like that, who was my bully in grade 7. And this kid, for no reason, I did nothing to this boy, but he just picked on me. Now, supposedly he had problems at home, and frankly, that's not an excuse to take those problems out on a complete stranger who did nothing to you. But this is human nature. This is who we are. We hate to admit to it, but there are those who are part of the human race that, lash out at each other and take their frustrations and find someone who they perceive as weaker than them and put those frustrations on that person. And that's just one reason why bullying happens. Some people are just douches and they just want to take advantage of other people. But in this instance with me, this guy would push me in the lockers or trip me in the hallway and get people to laugh, and it really hurt, and emotionally more than physically. But long story short, when I complained to the principal, it actually was a backlash to me because, as a guy, and I think bullying is treated differently for young boys as it is for girls. And I don't mean this as any disrespect, but I think there's more sympathy for young girls when they get bullied than for boys. Because among your peers, you're supposed to, even when you're in elementary school, you're supposed to man up and, be tough, don't take bull from anyone. I wasn't a fighter. I'd never been in a fight at that point. So when I went to the principal, the backlash from my fellow students was horrible. So I even made things worse when I was told that was the right thing to do. So eventually things came to a head when we were going to play a football game at recess. And Marcelo came up to me and he told me I can't play. Now my friends are like, you don't get to decide he gets to play or not in relation to me. But he was standing his ground saying, I don't want this guy to play. And then he threw the N-word at me. The first time I ever heard the N-word thrown at me. And you guys know what I mean by the N-word. And so and then he pushed me back and I tripped and I fell to the ground. This time no one was laughing because they heard what he said. And the whole racist thing, that was a new thing for us. So I got up and I remember I just saw red. I just lost my mind and I pummeled this boy into next week. Like I said, I was a skinny boy, not muscular at all, had never been in a fight, but I just had enough. I got frustrated and I pummeled this boy to the point that it took about 3 people to rip me off of him. And, got sent to the principal's office. We both, had to plead our case and whatnot. But the sad but still true reality is after that fight, Marcelo never bothered me again. I wasn't the weakling he wanted anymore to pick on. So the boy left me alone for the rest of the year. Now, am I saying this is what you need to do to beat up and fight someone? Of course not. When we get into this whole dialogue and expression about bullying, I've read many of the comments and people have these very simplistic views on how to fix bullying. Remember, bullying has been going on since our great-great-great-grandparents were in school. Talk to your grandparents. They'll tell you bullying happened when they were in school too. This stuff comes to the forefront when either there's a suicide or bullying gets so far that someone gets hurt or killed. then we have these debates, and it disappears for a while. And I guarantee when my daughter gets to the point of being in high school, she's going to hear about bullying. When her children get to her age, then and it's just going to keep on going and going, because unfortunately this is part of human nature. There will always be those who will try to take advantage of others, and bullying doesn't end in high school. Bullying happens just as much in the adult world. You go into the corporate world, you'll see bosses and supervisors and fellow coworkers bullying each other, trying to use mind games and bullying mentally to put someone down, because that's another facet of bullying. It doesn't have to be fists. Many times it's just the verbal abuse. So it doesn't end after high school. You just mature up and you learn to get a tougher skin, and you learn to outthink and outmaneuver people. But that happens with age and with knowledge. When you're in high school, you still have that bit of immaturity there, and you don't know how to deal with it. And like I said, I went through some crippling depression. I went through some horrible, horrible depression. I was alone in high school. You know, I had just a very small group of friends, which now I truly appreciate, because I don't believe in the whole Facebook having 300 friends and somehow that's friends. My mother taught me a great saying, and I want to share it with you. No matter how many friends you think you have, no matter how popular you think you are, you could count all your real friends on one hand, and you don't need all your fingers. And that is so true. When you really need help, when you really need someone to be there for you, trust me, it's only maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 friends who will be there for you when you need them to be, that you could tell them anything and they won't share the information with others. Be careful on who you be friends with, because that's a big part of it, because you'll be surprised how fast people backstab you when the opportunity arises. But back in high school, I didn't really understand that. So, you know, when you try to get in with the wrong type of crowd and then you deal with the repercussions of it. But I'm just saying to all the youth out there, and those especially who are teens, you know, that there is a better future beyond high school. High school is just a bubble of 4 to 5 years, and that is it. After that, the people who thought they were big shit in high school become absolutely nothing once they're out of it. I've seen a lot of people who were like the big tough guys and the rude girls in high school. Once high school is done, they've resorted to nothing. You know, I bumped into a handful of them who you find out that they were in jail for some time, or, you know, they have like 3 kids and no fathers in sight. Meanwhile, I'm in a great relationship, I have a daughter on the way, and I have my own damn house. So it just shows you how things change. The geeky guys of yesterday become the CEOs of tomorrow. So don't think that you're being belittled and that people are putting you down, that that's, you know, going to be the rest of your life, because it isn't. You just got to see the beauty in yourself, see how friggin' awesome you are, and open your eyes to those people who appreciate you for you. All those bullies, you know, they have their own pain that they don't know how to deal with, and they're trying to pour it onto you. You don't let them do that. If it means you have to fight back, it means you have to fight back. I don't condone violence, and I still think that it's best to try to deal with it in a non-violent way. First, trying to, you know, rationalize. If this person is a human being, they should be able to think and talk like a human being. But if this person doesn't have sense and won't be rational, if they won't leave you alone, and if they dare try to assault you, you have every right to defend yourself. Not to extremes, you don't want to kill a person or, you know, destroy them or break body parts, but sometimes you have to stand up for yourself and let them know that, no, you are not weaker than them. For all you guys being bullied, all the best to you. My heart goes out to you, and realize that you are a good person, you are a special person, and that person who's bullying you pretty much deep down has a bit of jealousy because you've got your stuff together and they don't. And eventually, like I said, high school, elementary school, it all ends. You go into the real world. You'll grow, you'll mature, you'll understand things better, you'll get your life in order, and everyone else who's trying to destroy your life, just ignore them, move on. Don't let them bother you, because ultimately they will implode on their own. So all the best. Don't kill yourselves, kids. There's a better life out there. Be strong. Take care.